everybody, this is Sean of Raw Select Music. Today I want to talk about this record right here. This is Wagon Christ's Musipal, released on Ninja Tune on April 2nd, 2001. Seeing as how this album is celebrating its 21st anniversary, as well as it being my personal favorite Wagon Christ album, today I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions and let you know why, if you're looking to get into the wild and wacky world of Luke Vibert / Wagon Christ music, that you might want to start off with this one. So with all that being said, yeah, let's talk about this guy. So for this video, I'm not going to go so in depth on Luke Vibert's backstory. If you want to find out more information about him, I'd recommend that you go check out my Big Soup video over here. But for a frame of reference, in 1998, Luke Francis Vibert released Tally Ho, his first and only major label release on Virgin, and that was due to being friends with someone at the label, as well as the increasing popularity of other electronic music artists at the time. Seeing, though, that his future as a big label artist was going to be very short-lived, he switched over to the label most famous for acid jazz and trip-hop, Ninja Tune, for a 5-album deal, with Musipal being the first of only 3 albums that he'd be able to release for them. For Musipal, as he explained in a talk with Exclaim magazine back in 2000, the album was a hodgepodge of tracks that he had given the label, with them paring it down to 14 tracks from the initial 50. And in typical Vibert form, the majority of the songs were old songs that he had had from years prior, and that they were sequenced and selected by him and the label. The critical response to the album was very positive, with AllMusic giving it 4 out of 5 stars, Pitchfork giving it an 8 out of 10, and with this quote being, I think, particularly spot on in describing the album. So why do I recommend this album so much? I don't know. I just feel like everything sounds that much better on this record. It just feels like everything that he was playing around with on Tally Ho, he seems so much more confident on this record, and all the tracks just have a certain cartoonish, wacky, playful vibe to it that Tally Ho also played around with, but I think the general feel of that style of production just comes across that much better on here. The album sets itself up perfectly with the sample-ridden, vocal-chopped-up track, The Premise, that brilliantly uses a sample from the Pedaltons that I absolutely love. But I love the drums, I love the vocal samples that he uses on this track, and just the overall funkiness to this. I think it sets up what sort of listening experience you can expect for the entire album, and he really doesn't betray that for the rest of the project. Elsewhere, the songs do go a little bit into some moody territory with tracks like Bend Over and Tolmec, but in general, I think The Premise sets up the framework for the rest of the album even better, with later also cinematic and playful, colorful samples on songs like Bonnie L, Step to the Music, It's Always Now, and Receiver, which is one of the more up-tempo tracks, and also the song that really introduced me to this album with its fantastic sort of scene-creating atmospheric video. Moments like those are really the ones that stand out to me. And even if it does sort of dip into moody territory, or if it goes off into like a more acidy or more of electronic vibe and sort of steers away from the more trip-hop oriented sounds of some of the other tracks on here, they feel kind of like detours that are loosely tied together with the rest of the album and don't really do anything to derail the overall pleasantness of this listening experience. Above all else, I'd say the 2 things that really make Luke Vibert stand out, not only on this release, but on all of his releases, is 1, Luke Vibert is one of the few electronic musicians out there that I think has really created a distinctive sound for himself. And this album, honestly, I think really set the framework for all of his future releases that would come out after this, way better than albums like Big Soup or Tally Ho, which seem much more a cut from that cloth than this album does. And the other thing that I think really helps Luke Vibert stand up across his peers is his sense of melody is second to none. Luke Vibert, honest to God, really knows how to craft a catchy hook, and there are no shortage of catchy hooks on this. So many just great melodies, great arrangements. He seems so much less focused when he does employ synths on a record like this one and records in the future, in making sure that there sure is a textured element to it, but they're more about creating a great arrangement and really a strong sense of melody. And this album has that in spades. At the end of the day, I really don't have any complaints with this record. I've absolutely loved this record since I picked it up nearly 20 years ago, and I still love it to this day. It's still fresh. I still find new elements in all the super layered productions on here, and I have a feeling I'm probably going to be going back and listening to this for years to come. In all honesty, this is a record that I absolutely love. I just warn you that although it doesn't bother me, I do understand there are a lot of people who could find Wagon Christ shtick to be kind of annoying, but it's the sort of thing that I'm into, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. So if you're looking for a great album to start with and get into the extremely varied and extremely eclectic world of Luke Vibert and or Wagon Christ music, you really can't go wrong with his 2001 release, Musipal, and I think I'm just going to leave it there. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. If you've listened to this album before, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Also, as per my previous video, make sure you let me know what your favorite Luke Vibert release is of all time. I'm always interested to hear more from you guys. If you want to hear this album for yourself, make sure you head over to my WordPress blog, because that's where I post music links to any of the albums that I talk about on this channel. And make sure you go follow me on Twitch for Live from the Record Room. There you can hear me play records like the ones that I talk about in these videos, as well as a whole host of other records in my collection that I don't get a chance to talk about on this channel. Links to everything, as always, down in the description. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. So until then, peace out!